All right, let's do it. All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Journal, episode number 2020. I'm your host, Chuck, alongside the one and only Billionaire Brown. What's up, sir?
Everything is up. But the truth is, I'm not doing too well. No, I'm actually.
You're not what? You said you're actually miserable?
Very. Did you ever realize that if you were to want attention and if somebody asked you how you're doing and you said, I'm doing terrible, do you realize how many people would adore and give you all the time you wanted?
Yeah.
If you want advice from somebody, tell them you're doing bad.
Yeah, and you'll get it.
Try it.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Chuck? I'm doing terrible.
I'm doing terrible. Oh,
well, you know what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think Facebook is the devil? Is it the ego's playground?
What is it again?
Do you think Facebook is the ego's playground? Like, do you think Facebook allows people to willingly express their egos online?
Do you express your opinions the same way on Facebook that you do in real life?
I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how so? So but just for context, and then I'll answer the question. So I'll go to your page. So you're very aggressive in real life.
In certain conversations, yes.
No, not in certain.
Some of the stuff
to the public.
Yeah, like
this goes out to the public. So for the context of your question. Okay, kill this cup, not my vibe.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna like that. But do you say that in the normal, like at work, for example? Do you say that?
Yeah, around certain people, not everybody, of course. You can't. I can't say that.
Don't say it in the public.
I can't say it to my director.
All right,
I can't say.
All right, how about step into your power and fuck what other people think? Period. Who are you having that type of conversation with?
My coworkers. I do say that to my coworkers.
Okay. In a group setting or individual, like you whisper it to them? Or in a group setting, like in the cafe, you're like, step into your power and fuck what other people think, period. That's it. Like, I'm fired up. I'm fired up.
I ain't gonna yell it. I'm not gonna yell it.
Motherfucker, y'all talking about Coca-Cola? Where my drink at?
But honestly, in all honesty,
feeding your ego? Yes, I want to know first before I answer.
The question? What? No, what? You can't answer.
The celebrity's motto is when you're low on cash, make yourself look like an ass. All right, let me go to my page. Let me go to my page.
But your answer is not going to be contingent upon my answer. It can't be, because then it's not an authentic answer.
No, it's not contingent. But I just want to understand your question, because you know what? People set you up for these weird questions without asking, like, the detail.
I'm not setting you up. No. All right. Okay. So let me rephrase. This is not a setup. And if you want me to answer first, I will. But do you think Facebook allows people to express their egos? Like they're bragging, they're saying this.
Really?
And, my post.
Really?
What?
Dude, does Facebook
the answer is yes. The answer is yes. It is the ego's playground. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to hear.
So nothing is what you wanted to hear. You wanted to. I didn't say anything yet. You said, "Oh no, that's fine." Is it the?
No, but
does it give people the opportunity to express themselves freely? Like, I'm trying to think what other environment doesn't. I mean, you go on a bus. I mean, you go pay the toll. You pay toll to go to work every day?
No.
No. Okay, so do you go to you go to the grocery store? That would be like, every time we meet someone, we have an opportunity to freely express our ego. Now, does social media give people the opportunity that normally wouldn't do it in real life? A voice and an ego? Absolutely. But every opportunity is the same.
I agree.
Whether you walk into your cafeteria or not, you're saying, step into your motherfucking power, bitches. Where's my sandwich?
I agree.
Right?
I agree 100%. That's it. That's all I want to know. That's it.
So how do you feel? Are you more vocal on social media, or are you more vocal in real life?
It's the same, almost.
Okay.
Right. It's the same almost. But yeah. So a lot of the stuff that I post on Facebook, I say in person. Like I'm talking to my coworkers.
But not to the public. Because unless you have a private Facebook account. But if you have a public Facebook account, that would be like you going into a public place and saying, technically, right?
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving, you're saying, step into your motherfucking power. Now, who's cutting the turkey leg?
Exactly, right? So step into your motherfucking power. Fuck what everybody else is saying. Right?
See, I've never seen you as that. I've never seen you as that. I seen you as the very low, timid. See, when I see your stuff on Facebook, I'd be like, yo, he must be getting us a message right now. Because that's
me. No, because we haven't spent, in recent years a lot of time around. But that's me. I will anonymously let you pick any one of my friends, and I can say, hey, reach out to them and ask them, is Chuck the same way offline?
But that's your friends. I'm talking about the public. I thought your question was for the public. Your original question was the public, not our friends.
No, because it was Facebook. Do you consider Facebook public? Same thing? Same category?
Same category as what?
Facebook and public. I said Facebook, but you're saying public. Is that the same thing?
Is your settings on public?
It is.
Okay, so yeah, it's considered public.
Okay.
You consider it private?
But you can't ask somebody, a random stranger, because they wouldn't know me. They wouldn't know me, personally.
So everybody on Facebook knows you?
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to find somebody that knows me in person. So you said offline. You said
no, online. That was your question. Online.
No, but you said it. But I think your question or your premise is, am I this way offline, or am I a Facebook friend? I think that's what you're hinting at. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're hinting at, Chuck, you're a motherfucking friend. And if you are, that's cool. I love your position.
Wait, you're
I love a Facebook friender. Like, hey, you posting all this on Facebook. Somebody who puts stuff on Facebook, but they don't say that same shit in public. Like, they don't say that shit in face-to-face social interaction. That's what I'm getting from what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I'm not saying what I'm getting. I'm asking.
No. See, this is what you do. This is how
I twist it up,
bro.
I twist it up.
You do. This is how you do. This is how you do. I understand, man. You crazy. You good though. You're really good at. You're good at what you do. You're good at what you do. I give you that much. You're good at what you do. All right, man. What are we talking about right now, man? We're supposed to be giving
your first question was about something with the ego.
Yeah, Facebook and the ego. Yeah. So I don't know. All right.
USA Inc. closed down for routine maintenance. They should be reopening soon. How the fuck does a government close? Shaking my damn head. See, I can see you saying something like that. That's I'm gonna I can see that.
And actually, I did say that verbatim at work the other day to one of my coworkers. I was like, "How does the government shut down?" I say, "Hey, the government."
When you engage in gossip, you end up marrying a life of misery.
That was a memory. I think I put that one like years ago.
Okay.
What
are some good African American autobiographies?
Are you really going to my timeline?
Why not?
You're really
it's public, right?
Journal. We're supposed to be giving content. We shouldn't be going through
Chuck Billionaire Brown timeline. I see. To ignore evil is to become accomplice to it. Think average, you get no results. Think good, you get average results. But think extraordinary, and you get extraordinary results. That's good. I'm gonna actually like that one too. That is content.
All right. So I think I mentioned this on the last
whose
podcast.
Facebook page whose Facebook page do you visit most frequently outside of yours?
I don't go to pay. I'm in Facebook groups. Okay. I literally don't go to the Facebook pages. Like I spend most of my time in the Facebook groups.
Okay. Can Facebook get any better?
Of course. Of course you can. I think well, let me not say of course. Let me not say of course. But I think everybody has room for improvement. Let me ask you this then. Can LeBron James get better? No. Let's actually, I know you're not a LeBron fan.
No,
let's stick to your boy.
I'm a fan of LeBron.
But you like Kobe more. So let's stick to your Kobe. I don't like him
more. He's just better.
All right. So when Kobe was in the league, could have Kobe gotten better than what he was?
Could he have gotten better? You're just gonna dig in your nose right here, just really, and just no hand sanitizer. Like we put this up. Like that was
on YouTube. That's fine. That's how people know this is real. This is natural. We're not editing that shit out. This is all natural and raw.
Get mine. Get shit like
Oh man. But can Kobe? Could have Kobe gotten any better than what he was when he was in the league?
Really? That's what you're gonna ask me?
I have to.
You have to? Could he have gotten better?
Yeah.
At what point? At the end? The last game?
Any point. From high school up until his 20th year into the NBA.
Could he have gotten better as a player?
Yes.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you that. So what about, do you think Facebook?
I don't believe in perfection.
No, we're saying perfection and improve. Like nothing.
I believe he's you play NBA Live or NBA 2K, he's probably ranked at 99. I rank him literally like a 99. So for you to say, could he get better? There's only 1 point when you're talking about Kobe. There's 1 point available. Could he get better? No, that's perfection.
Okay. All right. Do
you believe he could be better?
No.
You either so you don't rank him a 99 then. You got him at like
a No. He maximized his potential as an NBA player.
So could he have gotten better?
No. You can't. You maximize your potential, right? Like if you got a gallon of water, what's the maximum potential of that gallon of water? It's a gallon. You put any more than that, that's just going to over explode. It's going to start.
But aren't there bigger sizes than a gallon?
And see, at that point, you have to say, okay, well, how can I maximize my maximum potential?
So you think he could? Who's the best player of all time?
Come on, man. What is
you started the
no.
You're like the female who wears no panties.
Why gotta be a short? Why gotta be a female?
And then
why gotta be a?
Gosh.
Why gotta be a female? At least be a dude that wear tights or something. Why gotta be a female?
I'm gonna use that same metaphor with a dude. So a dude has on no underwear. He has on a short mini skirt. You think that's more offensive than the metaphor as a female?
At least I'll be a guy. Jeez, there's nothing wrong with being a woman. I just like being a guy.
Speaking of which, I do want to be honest with you. I did hear a Kem song that's really good, and I thought about you.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay. No homo. Let's say no homo. Let's say no.
Yeah, no. Pause.
Yeah,
Pause. But yeah, I heard one at this vision board party that we had, and I was like, "Who's that? That's Kem? That's Kem." And they said Kem. I was like, "No." But I'll be honest. Okay. With you, it was a great song.
Do you remember what song it was?
he doesn't have too many of them, so I'm sure you could list them, and I may be like, yeah, I'll find it when I need it. It wasn't good enough for me to ask who sing, like, what's the name of it.
Okay, but it was good. Okay,
it was very good.
Cool.
Like, yo, who is that? Cool. Oh, that's Kim. All right, yo, what we going to eat tonight?
All right. So one of the things that I talked about, I don't think on the last show, but on the last episode before, how I was keeping a daily to-do list. And I said, well, this is something I was going to try. And actually, I picked this up from you because you said that you keep an actual physical planner where you write stuff down. So one of the things that I have is actually I have a planner.
Ooh,
right?
he's flossing. He's flossing. So, that's how you floss, right?
This is on the 23rd. I think that was Monday or Tuesday, one of the two. This is on the 23rd. And you see, I got my to-do list, right? So I got stretching, meditation, read 15 pages, 36 push-ups, read articles, work on PDFs. So I write the stuff down. It's actually very, very beneficial. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, shit, I have all these objectives that I have to meet before the day is up. And, you have a little bit more experience than I do. So I don't know what's been your experience and how beneficial it's been for you to keep your daily to-do list. Yeah, your calendar, daily to-do list.
Oh, man. Whatever. It's the most profitable. You heard of Bitcoin before, right? Yo, get out of your mother freaking no.
No, that was on the side. That was on the side, man. It was on the side. That was on the side. Hey, mama. Hey, mama.
Okay. I don't even remember what the...
You said something about you was about to go into the calendar and remember Bitcoin and stuff.
Oh yeah, if you know about Bitcoin, if you think that's valuable, like your calendar is 100 times more valuable than what cryptocurrency will ever be at its highest. Like a calendar, it's your most profitable tool. That's why most people don't keep one. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure anybody goes to their circle of influence and they ask them like, yo, let me see your calendar. They'll either talk about the one on the fridge or the one on the wall, and then when you see it, it'll be blank. Right? Like, oh, you just got this? Nah, I've had this for like 6 months. Why nothing in it?
Yeah, you need to write some shit in there.
Yeah, so I think it's a very valuable tool. It's something that we should all keep, right? And it's something that gives us, like, it's something about, I think it was Zig Ziglar who said, it's something about putting a check on something that gets done, like the physical process of checking something off, like, boom, I got it. He said, and it's true. We talked about it on Inner Success Radio podcast with this guy. There's a million things. He calls it the little winnings, right? I like to call it my little winnings too, but you put that check like, yo, I just did that. Boom. Like, I feel good. We finished recording this podcast. I feel good. Like, we just finished doing our chop it up session for the book, right? I was like, boop. Then after this is done, boop, that does something to you psychologically. And that has nothing to do with money. I was talking about it's very valuable as far as monetary, but the non-monetary gains that you get from a calendar is priceless.
It's amazing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it definitely builds. You're right. I think there is science behind it to where, when you make that check mark, like you get a rush of dopamine saying, oh, damn, I feel good. Mm-hmm. I just completely, like you just said, we just finished the recording for the book. And we're like, damn, that feels good, right? We just did that. Now we just jump right from the book recording to the podcast. When the podcast recording is episode, bam, click that right off.
Is this not the American dream? What we've just been doing the past like 3 hours?
Yeah.
Imagine if someone in their crazy mind decided to pay us, let's be on a safe side. Let's say $5,000 a week for 3 hours. It's not the greatest, right? I was recording before he got sick. He getting $220,000 an hour in other countries. Here he gets $50,000 an hour. So let's just say somebody gave us $5,000 for 3 hours of our work today. Is that not the American dream?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, doing something we love to do, right? This is not even, it's not even work to me.
Something we're willing to do without getting paid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's we just lived the American dream today.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So,
are you ready for 5,000 a month?
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay, nice.
I've been ready, man. I've been ready. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't.
Hey.
All of our podcast listeners won't see the video right away. You go to YouTube, do a search for the Weekly Journal, and or the Black Podcasters Network, and you'll see this video on there.
They also need to listen to that last podcast too. That last podcast was actually very good. I was listening to it in the shower today.
Yeah, that shit was fire.
Yeah, it was.
That shit was fire. But yeah, so just
Brother X, Brother Shabazz, Charles Shabazz. Charles Shabazz. Remember you said he was changing his name.
You know somebody. I shit you not. I'm putting my hand to the man. Somebody at work. I was talking with my coworkers, and I was telling her I just finished reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I was telling her about the documentary and how Elijah Muhammad. I was giving her like a rundown of pretty much what we talked about on the podcast. And she said, "You know what? You're gonna be Charles X." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
No. That's disrespectful to Malcolm X to call me Charles X. I think that's disrespectful to Malcolm X.
No.
Yeah. He was willing to die.
You're such a piece of crap, yeah.
Dang. That's terrible.
You're such a liar. You said that on the last show. I didn't say anything. You make it seem like you're not. Your impact isn't the same. Your impact is exactly the same. I don't see how you don't see it. You got the Black Podcasters Network. What more do you want? You're creating content. What more do you want? What more could you? There's progress. How long have you had it? How long have you been really doing this seriously?
That's true.
Remember Martin Luther King? He was forced to do what he was doing.
That's true.
Forced.
That's true.
Like, what more do you want? Like, okay, let's say you're a year in of having it all, the vision all put together for what you essentially want for the Black Podcasters Network. Let's just assume. Yeah. Okay, give me a year of Malcolm Little. You're still Malcolm Little. Are you not? Like, metaphorically, you're still Malcolm Little. Yeah. This year, next year, the year after that, you're still Malcolm Little.
Yeah, because he was locked up for about 6 or 7 years, I think.
He was bad for how long? How long was he?
He was bad. He was bad. He started like 12 years old, all the way up until his like mid-20s.
So when you say that you're not, when you're so far, but I think you're closer to that than you know yourself.
Yeah.
And you should be. If I were you, I at least had to say something. However you decide to talk to yourself is how you do it. But you're doing. I can't think of you being able to do more. Yeah. I mean, you probably can. You could probably do more, create more, but they weren't a lot of people weren't creating anything their first year or two. I think you're doing you're more of an influencer than you feel.
I appreciate that, bro. And sometimes, and it's funny, and I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it, and it's funny because sometimes I try to get the same thing you're telling me. I try to get other people to see the same thing. Like somebody will say, "Oh no, it wasn't that bad," or "That was terrible." Like, no, that was actually pretty fucking good, right? Yeah. And there's a quote that Les Brown says. I think he says, "You can't see the picture when you're in the frame." Now, sometimes people may see that as a negative comment, but it's not. What it's saying is that, hey, you're in this box, so I can't see what you see, right? I can't see what my girlfriend sees. I can't see what my kids see.
You can feel it, though. You can. You feel your presence. You feel your impact. I know you do. You feel it.
Yeah. And okay. I appreciate that, bro. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's facts.
You just inspired me. You just inspired me. I'm pretty sure, and some of our listeners you inspired too. So that way, they know, hey, we need to give ourselves sometimes more credit than we actually give ourselves.
Like,
sometimes we can be too critical.
What do you think is the most? Have you ever thought about like what is the most important thing to actually becoming success? Like, there's so many different strategies and methods and journeys to getting there, but have you ever really thought about like what's the one thing, like if you do this one thing, you will reach success? Just one. I know that couldn't be a book. You can't make a book just one thing. People will hate it. That's more like an article. Yeah. But you could really just go on this one thing for like 200 pages. This one thing. What would that one thing be to you?
That's a good question. Actually, you know what? One thing I would say, that's tough. It's a tough question. I'm going to answer it a different way. I'm going to show. So for all our podcast listeners, again, you guys won't see what I'm about to show, but if you see, that's on my whiteboard. Like, that's what I have on my whiteboard. Stay focused on your goals. So focus, right? Making sure that I'm staying focused. If I had to say one thing, focus.
Okay.
Because I think focus is really important.
But how important is it? Like, it's obviously that important. You put it on the whiteboard, which I got to see. For those of you who didn't watch this, you're just listening to it. But how important, like, to what extent are you talking about focus? Like, as the one thing, because it can't just be the shallow, like, just focus on it, right? That's your one thing you're using. Like, if they said the genies, the gods above said, you do this one thing, focus. Like, to what extent are we talking about focus? Because remember the disciples. Remember, God told them to focus on praying while he was gone, right? When he got back, they were sleeping. They couldn't focus. Right? But to what extent are you talking about this focus?
I think when they're talking about focus and we're trying to say, okay, well, and we're looking at defining success, focus allows us to give energy to that one thing, right? There's actually a book called The One Thing. I don't know if I told you about it, but that book, hands down, one of the best books. No, that was the best book I read in 2016 was The One Thing. I gave it away. I need to actually get it again, but that was the best book I read in 2016. But when you focus in on a particular thing, then you're now giving that one thing energy, right? All your energy is going. Remember on the Inner Success Radio podcast, we talked to that lady, and after the recording, she said, "Hey, Demetrius or Billionaire Brown, your energy is scattered everywhere, right? You got this going on, you got this going on, you got this going on." And she said, "Hey, if you just kind of narrow your focus, your energy into like one or two things, you will see different results." So when we're talking about focus, once we're focused in on that one thing, we now are not only physical energy. I'm talking about, this is like actual the energy of the thing where we're empowering that particular project or task or whatever. So that's why I would say focus is probably the.
Okay, so my thing, I would say not giving up.
Yeah.
That's what I would, if there was one thing, commonality that I'll see from all, and to be successful at anything, is to not give up. That's the one thing. And the reason why I would say that is because I just finished reading that book, Destiny, by Bishop Jakes. And he talks about the different, what did he say? So he gave this one example where he actually sat down with Coretta Scott King, right? And I actually talked about it on my Facebook. And he was talking about how she told him that she felt that her destiny, her only purpose in life was to support and to be him, be there for him, do it all. That's kind of, isn't that, if you think about it, you know how many people during her journey tried to stray her away from that as her destiny, her purpose? Like think of it, not like I'm going to do what I got to do and then I'm going to also supplement and be there for him. Not that. She said her ultimate, like that was her ultimate thing.
Yeah.
So I say all of that to say, like, there's also a great book, I think, articulates it the clearest, the most pure. And that book is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
The ability to not give up is something that, because I can see you could be focused, right? A lot of us don't become successful because we allow what other people say that don't even know our vision and destiny. They have no idea what it is, but they say, "Oh no, I don't think you should do that. No, you will never be good at that. You're not good at that. You can't even." Like, just think about it. If focus was the only thing, right? And you may not be in this space right now, right? Because you had a speech impediment, you couldn't talk. Nobody would, however many years ago, how many people would actually say, yeah, you should start your own podcast?
True.
When you were stuttering and couldn't finish words.
Yeah.
But your ability to keep getting up and going at it again. I mean, I could give a million different examples of times where not quitting separates.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
Definitely does.
No, I agree. Not giving up is definitely, it's probably the most important factor, because there's a lot of people that did give up, and now they're wishing somebody else came on, because they say, you have an idea, you need to act on it, because if you don't, somebody else is going to come behind. And I'm pretty sure this happened across the board. There's been ideas that I had, and I'll go online and do a search. Somebody else has already started that same idea. Like, damn, I had that same idea a few years ago.
But look at it like this: what if there's a podcast, or someone who wants to start a podcast, right? That's watching this or listening to this. No, if they've never created a podcast, they have to acknowledge and respect you and I. If we continuously stay on this path, they would have to. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if you look at it like, oh, no, they could be better than you from the gate. They could be better than me from the gate. But the fact that you have to respect, he said it in Bronx Tale, you have to respect that there's honor in a working man, right? You're working towards something and you're applying pressure to it. Eventually it's going to, if you're given enough time, let me also add that. If you stay and you're given enough time, you just got to stay that course. Got to keep getting up.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say the same exact word, stay the course. That's what hit my mind. It's like, we got to make sure that we're staying the course, right? Not, like you said, not giving up, making sure we're focusing in. Like, so right now we're focused in on doing this podcast, right? We're not focusing on the podcast. We're not writing down or typing into some messenger, or we're not sitting here writing something down that's going to happen 2 weeks from now. We're focused in on providing content to not only to our visual listeners, but also to our audio listeners as well on the podcast. So definitely.
See, I like yours with the focus, because if you're, for example, let's take that lady you was just talking about, the lady who gave advice, right? I knew her for 45, maybe 60 minutes. You chop that in half because both of us are asking half, questions. Let's say 30 minutes, right? There's a thing called, I guess you can call it focus, right? Unless you have to be very careful with the advice that you accept from other people. Like Les Brown once said, right? When you buy someone's opinion, you also have to buy their lifestyle, right? There's a reason why professors are professors. I was an economics major. right? They taught us everything that we need to know, how to invest money, how to get into the stock market. They taught us all of that, right? But what good is teaching it to us if we don't actually implement it? And when you look at it, most of your professors, if you're an economics professor or a dean of that school, like, you should be massively successful. So why would I essentially listen to that information? Yeah, the information is good. Anybody can transfer information, regurgitate information. But when it comes to what is your vision, what's your focus, it's completely different if they ask you, right, what do you want to do? What are you doing? Give me some context before I give. But I think that a lot of people, what they do is they take anybody's advice, right? Yeah. People who don't even know any context. I like Gary Vee for that. Most of the time when Gary Vee is giving advice, he wants to get context. Tell me a little bit about this. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Right? You need context before you can give a educated answer that someone should pay attention to. How do you feel about that? Has anyone ever thrown you advice that threw you off from what you originally focused on, and then you had to double back and be like, wait a minute. Yeah. How could they know?
So context is very important because everybody has their own individual, unique situations in life going on at whatever period in life. And if you're getting advice from somebody, you need that context because the advice that they're giving you may not be applicable in that particular context that you're currently in, right? So say, for example, if we're talking about, let's say, for example, podcasting, right? And, in the book, we're going to be talking about how Inner Success Radio got started. But for the most part, my situation and another podcaster situation may have been completely different. So say, hey, this is what you need to get started, X, Y, and Z. But based off my situation, I don't have access to those resources. So I can't do X, Y, and Z. So at that point, I have to say, okay, well, what are some alternatives that I can do that can at least match similar to what that other podcaster has going on? So at that way, I can still put out the information. It may not be the same type of quality or whatever quantity, but I have what I have available using the research that I have available in order to get my podcast up and running.
And you have to remain focused, right?
Yeah.
Because had that girl running down the yellow brick road been focused, we wouldn't even have a movie. She already knew she had everything she needed. It wouldn't have been a movie, but she wasn't focused.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. Yeah. You know what? I don't know, man. It's
I've knocked.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? It's not funny. This is like an insight. It just hit me completely way off topic. So I told you before we hit record, I was having issues with my laptop. I got to get that looked into. But look at where we are with technology. Like, I'm recording. Like, if you see my setup, I wish I can show you my setup. I have a tripod. I have my iPhone on top of my tripod. I have my headset, then I have a microphone going into my iPhone, and I had to give you the permission to Zoom, to record the Zoom meeting so we can actually get the podcast recorded. Like, this is 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible. Like, no. Technology is literally leveling the playing field for anybody who has a voice and they want to get out there, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's podcasting, whether it's Twitter, wherever. If you have access to it, it's podcast. Yeah. And I know there's an app that
if there were podcasts around when I was in high school, I would have had a podcast. And do you know how crazy my podcast would have been?
It would have been crazy.
Because when you're young, we would have figured it out quicker. Like, if we were 18 right now, could you imagine if we're 18 right now? We'll be flying through this stuff.
Pretty much
flying through. But if there were podcasts out when I was in high school, I would have the craziest podcast ever. Because I was young, dumb, and on fire.
Yeah, podcasting, man, I love it, man. I don't see myself ever stop podcasting. Yeah.
Everybody needs one. Everybody. School teachers, bus drivers, fitness instructors, professors, doctors, nurses, home health aides, network marketers, authors, entertainers, rappers. Everybody needs a podcast.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
And quite coincidentally, there's podcasts on every single subject that you just mentioned. There's rappers. Joe Budden has a podcast.
Well, he's not a rapper no
right?
more, though.
Yeah, nah.
I don't think any. Yeah. Well, Noriega, he's still kind of a rapper.
Yeah, Noriega. Drink Champs is his podcast.
He's fading out as a rapper though, for the most part.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that. I know you brought up some stuff too. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't have anything else, man. But I do have something once we get into the health tip. That's been really interesting.
What book are you reading right now?
I actually have it right here.
Oh, Know Thyself.
Know Thyself. Okay. Yeah, by Naeem Akbar. It's actually my third time going through it. It's a short read. It's about, how many pages in here? 75 pages. So it's a short read, but it's extremely. I mean, you read a book 3 times, it has to be good, right? You ain't gonna go through a bad book 3 times, unless you're in school, right? You have to. But yeah, it's really a good book. So I just started that day before yesterday.
Why that book? Why now?
Because.
Why again?
Because I need to get back to the fundamentals of what I deem success, right? I need to get, and not success. And I'm not talking about outer success.
What type of success are you talking about? What is success to you?
Success is doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, who you want to do it. Well, I don't know.
You're searching for success.
Well, no, not even that. I don't think we can. For me personally, I think it's hard to define success because it's so broad, right?
For you?
Success to me is, well, yeah, because for me, so I can say, okay, well, success, and it depends on what area of your life.
Are you successful right now or no?
Do I consider myself successful right now?
According to your standard. Okay, so what is success to you? Because you just said scratch doing what you want to do, You said scratch that, and you didn't give us anything.
Yeah.
So what is it? What are we scratching it to replace it with?
I can't. I don't know if I can define it, and that could be bad. It could be bad that I don't have
your success or success period.
Success period.
What about your success? Can you define yours? What does that look like?
So ideally, what it looks like. Okay, so if we're all right. So if I have to give an answer, ideally, what it looks like is me doing podcasting full time, or not full time, but me doing podcasting as a career. Like me doing radio, not even podcasting / radio. Like if I got a call from 92Q in Baltimore, 92.3, they say, "Hey Chuck, we heard your podcast on the Black Podcasters Network. You got a great fucking voice. Look, come on down to the radio station. We're gonna give you some airtime. How much did it pay? We're gonna pay you $50 a year. I'm in there. Right? Like this is like I love and I enjoy
so
having
that would be success.
But there's different areas of life too, right? So so for career wise, I would say yeah.
What about life wise?
Life wise, success would be maximizing your full potential, or fulfilling what you were called here to do. And that may sound cliche, but for me personally, is that I know, and a lot of our listeners, there's a lot of untapped potential that a lot of us have. That we have certain gifts that we need to give to the world.
How much have you tapped into your potential? Like on a scale from 0 to 10 so far, right now, as of today?
I say it's 6.
Okay, so you got 4 more gears to go.
I would say
To reach your full potential. Okay.
Yeah.
What is a 10, your potential right now? What does that look like? What's different?
I don't know. I
But if
don't
you
know.
did know, what would it be? Like, you're a 6. Like, what would a 10 be right in this moment, right now? Is it the way you're about to answer this question? Is it the way that your voice sounds? Is it that, like, what is it?
What would a 10 look like?
Right now. A 10 right now.
A 10 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a 10 right now for me
in this moment
would be in this moment. So if I was at level 10, how would I answer this question? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Like I haven't even thought about, because all right, let me ask you this. Because I think sometimes we don't know to what extent our potential could reach. Like, for example, I know I can get better. Like, I know that was 100% out of my mind.
We're talking
hey,
about
I can get better.
Your life, though. We're talking about life.
Yeah, I can be better in life, as a better person. The way I relate to people.
So you can't be a 10 right now. We're not gonna get a 10 right now.
No.
No. Okay.
No. Yeah, because I still have layers that I have to unpeel. Like, there's stuff that still has to be kind of scraped off. You know, like when you.
But right now, in this moment, you can't. You don't think you can reach a 10 in any given moment?
Nah.
Wow.
No. Yeah. No. Like,
even if you were silent, and even if you went like this, even if we couldn't see it, you can't be at a 10 in this moment. I believe I could be at a 10. I've never thought about this before. But yeah, that's
good. Okay.
That's weird.
So,
that's a good point.
All right, so let me ask you this thing. I know we got to start, winding down a bit. So, as far as potential, so let me ask this first. What is your definition of success? Let's start there.
My definition of success is living on purpose.
Okay.
That's, in short, that's my definition of success. Living on purpose.
Okay. All right. So, on a scale from 1 to 10.
0 to 10.
Some
people don't have dreams.
That's true. Where do you think you fall in line to your purpose?
Living on
purpose. Do you know what your purpose is? Yeah. All right. Do you know what your purpose is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, where on a scale do you think you are as far as maximizing your potential as far as purpose is concerned?
I'm a low to a mid 9.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I like that. Okay. That's cool. All right. Cool. So you're almost at that point to where you say, okay, I feel that I'm now where I'm in my space of where my potential is, not necessarily potential matters, but I'm on track to
my what I say, a low 9 to a mid 9. The difference between that number and a 10, once I sat down and thought about it, if I ever did, it would probably be, it would rely on my environment.
Okay.
It would definitely. Because my thing is my work, I'm inspired by other people who are living on purpose. Like, to see people like that gives me a rush, it gives me a thrill to see someone going after something. So in every environment, it changes, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, for example, let's say what is your number? When your number goes to, let's say, a 7, that's going to make me like a 9.5, 9.6.
Yeah.
When you go to an 8, it might take me, I might have those moments of a glow on the show.
Yeah. But
you can, like, when I feel very, like, you give me a task, I'm going to go after it. Like, I may go, like, look, you could put a piece of gold in a desert and say, yo, go look for this gold. I'm going to look for it. My desert is going to look all wrecked and it's going to look all crazy because I'm going to dig up everywhere. People will be watching and be like, yo, no, dig over there. And I'm going to be like, yo, shut the fuck up. And I'm just going to keep digging and I'm going to keep digging. And one day going to go by, they're going to be like, yo, this dumbass motherfucker. Like, we told them it's right over there. We told them. And I'm going to just, next day, I'm going to be digging, I'm going to be digging, I'm going to be digging, I'm going to be digging. And eventually, 2 things are going to happen. One, those people are eventually not going to be there. They're going to get tired because I'm such a knucklehead. I ain't find it in the time that they wanted me to. And the second thing that's going to happen is I'm going to eventually find it. Or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Give me a task and I'm on it. I love tasks.
Yeah.
And I love focusing on tasks. Love it. I love focusing on tasks. I love telling people no.
Yeah.
I love telling people they can't. Like, that's not important.
Yeah.
Like, I love telling people, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you working on? People don't like me because I ask them simple, like, yo, what are you working on right now? People get an attitude. Yeah. Like, what do you mean, what am I working on? I like when people tell me, like, yo, I'm working on this. And then I hit them up 3 months later, like, yo, how's that going? And they're like, oh, it's doing really well. Or they're like, oh, no, I decided to do something different. And then I get to engage in that. People on purpose is powerful, man. It's inspiring.
It is. I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%, man. Okay, cool. So, all right. So I got you gave me some context of, where you're coming from as far as success and, your definition of it and, where you are along that spectrum.
Do you like seeing people living on purpose?
Of course. Yeah, I definitely like,
but most people don't,
watching
right?
People, unfortunately. Yeah.
So that's a tough situation. Sometimes we're not living on purpose.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, like people, and I've been guilty of it, so I'm not throwing shade.
All of us.
When somebody says, "Oh, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z this year," or I want to start a business, but then I see them watching Netflix more than they're studying how to start a business, or they're playing games on their phone on how to structure or write a business plan, then I have to, and it's not coming from a place of judgment, because like I said, I've been there, still do that shit myself from time to time. But because we care about people so much, like, damn, I want to help you, but you're not, like, it's not real for you. You rather watch Netflix than study a book on how to start a business.
But right? Isn't that inspiring? Let's go ahead.
It's inspiring because it lets me know that I need to step my game up. Yeah. And what I mean by that is that
because they
if
need
I'm stepping my game up,
when we're down,
exactly.
Whether you're up or down, we all need each other. That person who's down needs to see you going. That person that's going needs to sometimes, unfortunately, see you down.
Yeah. And it's like when they see us like step the game up, 2 things are going to happen, and we have no control over the outcome. 2 things are going to happen. One, they're going to say, "Oh shit, let me put down Netflix. Let me pick up this book because Chuck is moving, and I want to. I may not move in the same direction, but God damn it, he's moving somewhere, and I want to see where he's going. So let me put this Netflix shit down. Let me pick up a book. Let me get this business popping." Or, Chuck, you're making this shit real uncomfortable for me, right? You out here, you giving talks, you doing podcasts, with Billionaire Brown. You guys are traveling everywhere, but I'm sitting here watching that, like, you know what, Chuck, I can't fuck with you no more because you just getting too big, and then they're trying to make you feel guilty. Why are you always working? Why are you always doing X, Y, and Z? Like, because we're building, right? We're building.
There's a short story about, I went to, the place that I go to play ping pong, right?
Yeah.
So there's a short story where there was this kid, he was like a real weirdo, like really weird. Like he came up to, like I said, so just in short, he's very weird, right? First time I've ever seen him, but somehow we got into a conversation with him about, he created this app where it was an app that you can turn off the light in your house or at a store from your phone. And it was like really dope. Like he created the technology. Weird Bill Gates looking dude back in the 70s and 60s. Like a real weirdo. But when he started talking about, like, he was passionate about it. Like, I don't think I played ping pong that whole night. Is because, like, he was, just to hear his creative mind and like what his vision is and what his plans are. It's like, yo, and this dude is showing it to us right on his phone. Like, yo, I'm creating this software and look, this is what it does. And it turns lights off from your phone.
Yeah.
But it's the passion that it's so amazing what it does for me. Because after meeting with him, it's like, yo, I'm far behind. I need to get on my shit. The good thing is, if I'm already on my shit, I just need to take it up another level. But if I'm not on my shit, like you was just talking about, it's a sign like, yo, be inspired by people who are doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Success is so simple.
It is, man. It really is, man. And there's, and I try not to compare my situation with somebody else's because they're different. And I try not to put an age thing. Sometimes we get like attached. Well, by 35, I want to have X, Y, and Z, or by 40, I need to have this. I think that limits people, right? They're saying, because then at that point they feel like
it's proven. 50 is the age of the most productive years of your life. 50 years old. You can look in Napoleon Hill and find that.
Yeah. And so for me, it's more so of seeing, like you said, hearing these young people's vision. Like, damn, this guy has a vision, what he wants to try to create, right? And he's happy because he's working on his vision, right? Like, if I wasn't doing this podcast and shit, I'd probably be depressed because I'm still punching the time, right? But because on the weekends I get to do the podcast, I'm in my zen. Like Saturdays, I'm zoned out. And my girlfriend knows Saturdays, look, I'm not available until at least after 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
After 5 is when I'm available, and she knows that. So she does her thing, she goes out and whatnot. But from Saturday morning until 5 o'clock, my mind is podcast, right? And so, for me, it's damn, I'm working within my vision,
and it's exciting.
It definitely is. It definitely is, especially if you're doing it with somebody, right? Whether it's 1, 3, or 4 people. Once we're done recording this, I got to start my next show at 3 o'clock, right? That's my brothers I've known for my entire life. We do a podcast episode. So it's one of those things, man. It's contagious. They say success is contagious.
So working with so many people, what is it like? Like, do you ever encounter? How do you feel have you ever experienced a time where the person you're working with or the person you're partnered with is not living on purpose, let's say?
Yeah. Yeah. To answer your question, yes.
So how does that work for you? Because for me, it affects me because that has a lot to do with my success. My success has a lot to do with living on purpose. So how do you feel about that, dealing with that with people that you work with?
For me, and I struggle with this one because especially if it's somebody that you know personally, like you've met them, you know, you got friends or whatever. For me, it's okay. Do I say something and take a chance on damaging the friendship? Saying, hey, you know, look, man, this is what I'm noticing, bro. Like, come on, man, we got to get this shit popping, like X, Y, and Z. Or do I set the example and raise the bar? Like, all right, well, let me step my game up. Let them see it. And again, it goes back to that scenario I said earlier. Two things are going to happen. All right, let me follow Chuck's lead, or let me separate from him. So that's where I'm stuck between saying something or stepping my game up. Which, I mean, I need to set my game up regardless. But should I say something at the same time? That's the challenge that I have whenever I'm in that situation.
But whose style is that similar to? Do you know?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's something that I always wonder as well.
Yeah.
I like our setup though. I like our setup. Our setup is very consistent, you know, a few blows, you know, a few fights.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. I like contact.
Yeah.
I like contact, like, yo, you messed up, yo, this is affecting this. I love the way we have it set up. I wouldn't trade it in. It's tough. It's definitely tough, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
I mean, it's worth it, you know, right? It's definitely worth it.
You don't have to be perfect, but you have to have the ethic. You have to have the work at. You have to have the focus, like you was talking about before. You have to have it. Yeah.
And if some people, not all, but if some people worked as hard as they did on their jobs as they did another area of their life, they're committed. They will go to work.
Most people don't care about their job.
Yeah, but still, like, I don't care about my job, but I'm learning valuable skills by being there, and that's what I keep in my mind. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not here just typing the time clock. I'm learning how to, and believe it or not, that's how I became so versed in managing calendars, because the doctor I used to work for, one of the busy, if not the busiest doctor in the entire hospital, I had to manage his calendar. And he had not only one site where he saw patients, he saw patients at 3 or 4 different sites, right? He's traveling across the country giving speeches. He's writing books, and I have to manage all this. And if it wasn't for the calendar piece, I would have been fucking screwed. So for me, it wasn't all about I'm swiping the clock, getting the paycheck. Like, well, damn, I'm learning how to manage a calendar. And
I think that's rare, though. Most people don't work hard at their job. That's a cliche that needs to be broken. That's a myth. Most people do not work hard at their job. There's studies been done. I think on average, it's like maybe 9 hours. Like someone who really is supposed to be working 40 hours a week is only working like 9 hours a week, technically. Yeah. That's 30. They're robbing 31 hours. Like you count going to get the coffee, playing around on social media. You count talking with your coworkers. You talk about just procrastinating, bullshitting, putting the job off until tomorrow. You know, stretching the work. Most people don't work hard at their job. Not these days. Yeah. You got to go back to the 50s and 60s to see people working hard on their job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
Do you think most people work hard at their job? At your job?
No. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
I've seen it with my own eyes. So, you know, this is firsthand visual, knowing directly this person or group of people, not
and they wonder why they don't get a raise. Like, how you gonna get a raise? You barely cutting the minimum of work.
Yeah, man. So, but
my last question before we do the health tip, I have one question. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in work-life balance?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay. How is work-life balance? What do you mean by it? You don't believe in no work. You just trying to be political.
Nah, I do.
It's a damn lie.
No, well, no, I do, because if we spend all of our time working, whether it's a job or on business, right? Say you got a business, you're working 14, 16-hour days for 30 years. You got 3 kids. At the end of the day, your kids are gonna be grown. Like, oh shit, I don't even know who this person is. Yeah, I birthed them, I live with them, but at the end of the day, you haven't spent time with your kids, right? You haven't developed that. You haven't, and studies have also been done, and you may, recall what I'm talking about. Studies have also been done, like people on their deathbed, right? I think they did a study on people who are on their deathbed, and they were saying, what's the one thing that you wish you would have spent the most time doing, or that you would have did less of and more time doing? And I think they said something like less time working and more time spending time with family, doing the things that I enjoy doing.
But how much? I wonder how many people were in this study, and I wonder how many of those people were successful or not. That's what I would like to know based off of that study.
Mm-hmm.
Because at a certain point, do you believe you can ease your way? Because you're not generational wealth, as far as I know, right?
No, yeah. Uh-uh.
You don't have like millions stashed right now.
No.
And okay.
No, definitely not. No.
So with that being said, like, how do you, like, at a certain point, wouldn't you have to make that decision? Like, do you want to be, well, how does your work-life balance look? Like, if you could use it with your hands, how does it look? Like, how does your balance look? Or what do you want?
Well, I think we're talking about work-life balance. So, all right, let me rephrase it. So, work-life balance. So, if you're just getting started, right? Like let's just stick to business. And this is a podcast on business. So let's just stick to business. You're starting a business, but you got a family. You got 3 kids. In the beginning of that business startup, there's not going to be any work-life balance.
Instead of saying in the beginning, could we just use the terms successful and unsuccessful?
You there, bro?
Yeah. Is it possible we could just use successful or unsuccessful instead of in the beginning of getting started as an entrepreneur? Or is that not possible?
Well, no, because you can't, if somebody's starting a business, so a person that's starting up
because in the beginning, what's in the beginning for Damon John?
He's successful if he's working towards it, right?
But it took him, he said, about 12 years to do it.
Yeah, but he took 12 years to do, but he still.
But what part of those 12 years was in the beginning, are you considering?
When he decided to start Fubu.
Okay. Okay, so you believe in work-life balance. I'm battling with this.
Ultimately, yeah. Ultimately, I do. I do believe it. Yeah.
I think there's a fork in the road that most people don't want to acknowledge when they don't have generational wealth. That's what I believe. And I believe if we fall victim to that, we will end up a casualty. Somebody has to, I don't know. I can't think of anybody who didn't come from generational wealth. I think it's just one of those things that average people say. And since average people are the majority, some of the people transitioning, we tend to think it's true. But I don't know if I can't think of somebody who did.
Who has work-life balance?
Before they're successful.
No. Well, yeah. I want to say that.
Jay-Z and Beyonce, they don't see their kids much at all. Most of these athletes, when they get their Hall of Fame awards, they're thanking their wives and they're thanking their grandparents. Like, oh, without them, you know, I was never there. You know, same thing with the Mark Cubans, etc. Right? Or Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, he had to go and fly into, you know, so I don't know if it's, I think it's not real for people who want a good.
But it depends on.
But you're not trying to do anything big, though. You're not trying to set your family up like legacy financially. You're just trying to make
I'm definitely trying to.
But you're not trying to make millions. You're not trying to have millions in your kid's account.
No, that's my goal. And if not my stepdaughters, my nieces. Like when I die, I want my nieces to be set up. Like bro, shit, Uncle Chuck got it.
But what if they're not? What if you don't do that though? Will you be satisfied because you had work-life balance? Like which one's more important? Having your niece and your stepchildren inherit some generational wealth, or is it work-life balance? A great work-life balance.
So I guess the question is, why can't we have two? I mean, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah, what I'm saying is, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? I mean, that has to be a fair assessment.
I believe it does exist, and I also agree with what you just said. But at the same time, I don't want to be. I'm 37 years old. I don't want to be the first person. I'd rather bank my eggs in the fact that from starting at age 50 is when most people accumulate their wealth.
Yeah.
But I'll be inspired when you do it. I don't think you'll go, like if you're trying to have millions in your kid's account. How many stepkids do you have?
3.
So 3, and then how many nieces do you have?
4.
Well, see,
4
that's the shit that I'm talking. See, I hate having, yo, you full of shit, yo.
You can't.
So you want $1,000 for each of them, right? Or is that, how much do you want to leave for each of them?
I haven't put a price tag on it.
Now he don't like the million. Now he's thinking 8 million, no, 7 million.
No. It's going to be a lot.
How much do you want to leave for them? Like 10 grand? That's a lot of money. Most people are left with nothing.
No, definitely not 10 grand.
So what is it?
Definitely not 10 grand. It's a big number. 7 figures. 7 figures. 8 figures.
7 figures. 8 figures. So 8 figures. So 10 million each.
All right, let's get to that.
Like $80 million. No, that's 70 million.
Let's do it. Okay.
So what about, man,
but you're familiar,
million, but that's on the low. You trying to do that, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna. You think you got a good work-life balance sitting on 70 million? Not mentioning what you're gonna have.
All right, let me ask you this, because we got to go. We definitely got to. We definitely got to. Let me ask you this. Mayweather has, I don't know how many, 9, 10 kids. Can Mayweather currently right now achieve work-life balance?
Can he?
Yes.
Can he? Yeah, he can.
Okay. When he first got started, he definitely couldn't. Right? Right? So we're saying the same thing. You make that face. We're saying the same thing.
That was the worst.
That was dope. I know that was dope. I know.
Yeah, that was low effort. Yeah.
No, it's not an argument. That's another thing. We're not an argument. This is a discussion. This is a discussion.
That was terrible.
But yeah, man. So I don't know. That's interesting. I may consider that.
You trying to get 70 mil on the low, yo. That's funny. You trying to sit on 70 mil on the low. Like, yo, when you get that done, please, you got at least $1 million for me, yo. You owe me $1 million.
I'm like, all right, this is some work-life balance. Okay. All right, so you're not, okay.
He said 70 million sitting on it. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, bro. All right, bro. Man. What we got for the health tip, man? I got mine really quick, and you've actually done this experiment before, so you can share your experience. But starting Tuesday up until yesterday, I've drank a gallon of water every day, and I feel amazing, absolutely amazing. My mental clarity is there. I'm sleeping better. Of course, you go to the bathroom a lot, so you're getting other toxins out your body and whatnot. My goal is to drink a gallon today. So I don't know. I'm gonna see how long I can go along with the drinking a gallon of water. Water. You're pretty much washing your cells. That's what the cells are made up of, water. So you're washing your cells, getting the bad shit out. I limited my meat intake this past week. I didn't eat a lot of meat at all. Did I eat meat? I think I ate like one day this past week.
Don't you guys say no homo or pause? You ate meat. You made me say it earlier.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Or that's cool, and that's cool.
No, yeah. Pause. Let's pause that.
Okay.
Pause. Yeah. Pause. All right. What about you? What's your?
My health tip is eat more nuts. Pause. Like sunflower seeds. That's my favorite choice. Right, sunflower seeds, walnuts, almonds, cashews, peanuts, popcorn. Yeah. Eat some nuts, some seeds, and that's all I could pretty much say. You can also put seeds and nuts in your smoothies too. So try to be creative with that.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Again, a great episode. Everybody, thanks for listening in today. All our YouTube watchers, be sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also check out the podcast, The Weekly Journal, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I'm still waiting on to hear back from Spotify. Like I submitted one of my other podcasts to Spotify. So if that process works, then I'm going to branch out and do The Weekly Journal and the other podcasts that we have on the network. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. I don't have anything else, man.
Yeah, I have nothing else either. Till next time, continue to be.
Peace out.
You.
Hi, bro. All right.